Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining in, rushing into the next day. No. Today we're sleuthing and we're solving. That's what we're doing. Forget sound for today. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time, and welcome indeed. And of course, as you see from our intro, today we are out at Overlook Park in Burlington, Vermont. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. I am glad that we are here together. Happy Thursday to you and your loved ones. And indeed, I hope that you are okay. Thank you so much for joining in today. Excited to be here with you. Another great book awaits. Yes, some more time together. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you for making the time to be here with us on Storytime. And I hope that you do enjoy today's wonderful story, wonderful experiments, wonderful investigations. Yes, are you ready today to sleuth? And this one is coming to us from Chronicle Books of San Francisco, and it is written and illustrated by VICTOR ESCANDELL. And of course, a big thank you to Chronicle Books for allowing us to share this wonderful book here on Storytime. And please do pardon my heater. I hope it's not way too loud out there. It was freezing in here, and so turned it on. Thank you so much for joining in, and welcome to Storytime. Thank you so much for being here with us. And one more time too, remember too that we've had a wonderful week. We have a wonderful book coming up, and of course one more to come tomorrow, and that is sound. So get ready for that one. But today we do have a Sleuth and Solve science. Yes, excited for that one. Thank you so much for joining in. And also remember too that Angela Darton's To Boldly Go, Angela Darton and Lauren Summers' book is coming out January 17th. Excited for that one indeed. I hope that you are ready. And remember to ask for it at your local library. And of course, Jack the Library Cat. This one also coming out March 1st, 2023. And of course, many other books coming out, and we'll try and highlight them here on Storytime as they come out. Thank you so much for joining in, and welcome. Let us see who is with us this morning, ready to enjoy a wonderful story. Good morning to you. Thank you for being here. Good morning, Nathan and Sarah out in Illinois. We're loving the scenery pictures you and others have been sharing. Vermont is gorgeous, isn't it? Thank you so much for sharing. And I got to visit Vermont for the first time this past summer, and I agree with you 100%. It was just so beautiful. Thank you so much for joining in today. I am glad that we are here together. Yes, Amanda West, good morning to you as well. And I hope you're ready for today's story. Good morning to you. How are you doing, Erin and Clara? Thank you for joining us from out in snowy Massachusetts. We hope you and others are staying safe in California rains. Clara is very much into mysteries. Yes. She will be so excited to see this after school. Well, Clara, we are glad to have something for you today. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. And yes, indeed, thank you for asking as well, Erin and Tara. We are trying to stay safe here, trying to follow the guidelines. And of course, when out on the roads, driving a lot slower and just keeping an extra eye out, extra caution as we're out there. And as you've heard, too many parts, including just nearby here in Sonoma, even just nearby a few miles from me, we've had, a bit of flooding and all kinds of things happening. So yes, thank you for your good thoughts, and indeed trying to be careful. And everybody out there, if you're in the Bay Area, if you're in California, and your area is affected, please, we hope that you're safe, and we're sending you good thoughts indeed. Thank you so much for sharing that. Absolutely appreciate you and appreciate your wonderful message. Thank you indeed, Tara and Erin, and of course Clara later on when you join us. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. Good morning to you, Sharon Lungo and Soraya. Thank you for being here with us on Story Time. Appreciate you and glad that you are here with us this morning. Thank you indeed for being here on Story Time. Thank you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you, Garrick and Theo and Kate. Good morning to you. Happy 2023. Good to see you here on Story Time after a while. I hope that you've been able to join us with the recordings away from the lives, of course, but thank you for being here with us. Good to see you. Always good to see some familiar faces come back. Absolutely appreciate you. Thank you, and I hope that everything is going well with you indeed. Thank you for joining in today on Storytime. We do have a wonderful book coming up, and this one is called Sleuth Solve Science, and this one is written and illustrated by Victor Escandell, and we will be reading it with permission of the publishers Chronicle Books of San Francisco, and it has 20 plus mind twisting mysteries. Yes, are you ready for them? Oh yes, I am too. So join me on the other side of this very short message when we are back for more story time. Thank you for being here with us, and I'll catch you on the other side. Thank you.
Hello, Storytime friends. My name is Angela Dalton, and I'm an author of picture books. Some you may have even seen read right here on Storytime with Mr. Lamada. I'm excited to tell you about my brand new picture book called To Boldly Go, How Nichelle Nichols and Star Trek Help Advance Civil Rights. It comes out January 17th, and it's an amazing story about the legendary Nichelle Nichols and her role on Star Trek, which she left until a very special person reminded her about the impact that she was making, not just on television, but around the world. And I'm excited to tell you that myself and Lauren Semmer, the illustrator, will be coming here on January 20th to read the book to you and to answer any questions that you might have, and to tell you a little bit about the book and how we came up with the idea for it. I hope that you'll join us again on January 20th right here in Storytime with Mr. Lamada. Until then, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about me, please visit me at angeladalton.com. Okay, now we got to get back to the story today on Storytime with Mr. Lamada. I hope you're enjoying it. I know I am. Okay, see you soon. Bye.
Welcome back to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, congratulations to you, Angela Darton, on your amazing new book. And of course, looking forward to having you here on Story Time on January 20th. And of course, looking forward to your book coming out on January 17th. Yes, ask for it at your local library and get to enjoy it. And of course, if you're able, pre-order. It is available on where you find books. Support your local bookstores as well. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Yes, my heater is listening to me. It went quiet, so I hope that it wasn't too loud for all of you out there. Thank you so much for joining in. Our book for today is called Sleuth Solve, and this one is 20 plus mind-twisting mysteries. Are you ready for the first one? All right, here we go. This one, Sleuth Solve Science, coming up very shortly.
Hola. My name is Shamile Sayed Mendez, and I am the author of Where Are You From, Furia, and many other books for young readers. You're watching Story Time with Mr. Limara.
Welcome back indeed. Sleuth Solve Science, written and illustrated by Victor Escandell. And just, this is 20 plus mind-twisting mysteries. And before we go into that, I just wanted to explain a little bit about it. And once you get the book, you'll be able to find here, it says Sleuth Solve. and it'll tell you a little bit about how you can go about solving this. The different mysteries in here and the different layers that are there to solving them. And it says, how do you solve these mysteries? Well, you observe, you ask questions, form a hypothesis, what you think, and also use reason. And even more fun, you get an experiment portion of it, and you get to look at that. There's once you've solved each mystery, turn to the experiments and more section beginning on page 52, and then there you can get to do experiments that with some of those principles that you would have used to figure out your mystery. So isn't that fun? And then on this side, it says the mysteries in this book will challenge you to understand the why of the solutions. In some cases, you may be able to intuit the answers, but can you explain their scientific causes? Although you may not realize it, these mysteries rely on surprising scientific principles or laws. Once you learn about each one, you will understand the world around you better, which is what science is all about. Are you ready? All right. So our first mystery, we're going to start with page 1. Oh, yes. Well, there's a table of contents in there, and you can go to all the different experiments that you'd want to try, different mysteries that you'd want to try. And then, of course, if you want to try out the experiments of that, which I highly recommend you do, you can go ahead and do that. All right. So there is a point system, and there's stars next to them, so it can tell you the level of mystery, whether it's easy, medium, or if it is a difficult level. And you get to solve, and you can see these signs to the symbols on there, which tell you what field of science that mystery is coming from. Is it physics? Is it geography? Is it optics? Natural science? Chemistry? Geology? Astronomy? Meteorology? Biology? All of those have mysteries in here. But I just thought I should explain a little bit on that. And you can see here too, you can see the different ones. Some of them even will cover, they'll span across multiple science disciplines. So you can see like that. I hope that gives you some background into how this works. So when you look at it here, can you see that? It tells you this one is a physics mystery, and it tells you it's 10 points, worth 10 points. And then the level, this one is easy. Why don't we start with an easy one, right? All right, here goes the mystery. After spending all morning gathering supplies to build a cozy nest for her babies, a magpie is thirsty. As it hasn't rained in weeks, it is difficult to find a place to quench her thirst. Oh, hardworking magpie. Sorry, you can't find any water. Number 1, here are your clues. The magpie ventures out in search of water. Suddenly, she hears a familiar sound and perches on a branch to listen more closely. As she lands, some berries fall from the tree, making an unmistakable plop. The magpie flies down. This is number 2 now. The magpie flies down and takes a closer look at one of the berries in the grass. The berry has landed near the edge of a hole in the ground. Number 3. The clever bird pokes her head into the hole and discovers the source of the plop. There is water at the bottom of it, but no matter how hard she tries, the magpie can't reach the water with her beak. You can see there. And clue number 4. She stops and thinks, as only a magpie can. Then she looks around, picks up some stones with her beak, and voila! She is able to quench her thirst. So the question for you, and I'll pause a little bit, is how is the magpie able to reach the water? What do you think? How is the magpie able to reach the water? What do you think? How? What do you think? Yeah. Are you ready for the answer? Well, I hope you've had time to ponder with it. And of course, if you're joining us later on for the recordings, this is the point where I would encourage you to pause the video and yeah, try and solve that mystery. And then you can continue on playing. All right, here we go. Here is our solution. Or did you want the clues again? All right, I'll read them quickly this time. The magpie ventures out. Number one, the magpie ventures out in search of the water. Suddenly, she hears a familiar sound and perches on a branch to listen more closely. As she lands, some berries fall from the tree, making an unmistakable plop. Number two, the magpie flies down and takes a closer look at one of the berries in the grass. The berry has landed near the edge of a hole in the ground. Number three, the clever bird pokes her head into the hole and discovers the source of the plop. There is water at the bottom of it, but no matter how hard she tries, the magpie can't reach the water with her beak. She stops and thinks, as only a magpie can. Then she looks around, picks up some stones with her beak, and voila, she is able to quench her thirst. Question for you. How is the magpie able to reach the water? Are you ready? Ta-da! By throwing enough stones into the hole that the water level rises up to the top. Isn't that clever? And pat yourself on the back if you got that one right. The magpie throws enough stones into the hole and the water level rises up to the top. But why does that happen? Well, this is where now we take it to the next level. So if you've read the mystery, solved it, you can then go to page 52, which we're going to do with this mystery. So let's go to page 52 and look at those mysteries. So once we're on page 52, you can see here it tells you experiments and more. And so, of course, we looked at mystery number one, which is a thirsty bird from physics. The scientific principle, so now it goes on to explain and then it will give us a task to do. The scientific principle, or Archimedes' principle, when a mass is submerged in water, the water level rises as much as the volume of the submerged mass. Right? And we'll explain that a little bit more. This volume is the space that something occupies. So usually, we'll talk about irregular objects and regular objects in just a second. But when a mass or something is submerged in water, the water level rises as much as the volume of the submerged mass. So yes, whatever object you place in water, it will displace an equal amount to its volume. And the experiment for you is, in a wide empty bowl, and I hope you have a measuring cup at home, you could try this. In a wide empty bowl, place a smaller second bowl that is filled to the brim with water. Then place an empty glass inside the bowl of water that is the same height as the bowl. You should observe water spilling out of the smaller bowl and into the larger bowl. Pour the spilled water into a measuring cup to determine the volume. If you pour that same amount of water into the empty glass, it will fill up right to the brim. So, do you want to try that? Well, let's try this experiment. I get told Archimedes' principle. When a mass is submerged in water, the water level rises as much as the volume of the submerged mass. Let's try that. Okay, so they're what we call regular objects. For example, I have this box of tea, one of my favorites. I have this box of tea. So you can see by looking at this box, you can see that there's a width and it also has a height. And also if you turn it around, you can see that it has a length. So if I was measuring volume for an object like this to find out the space that it occupies, of course, this one is hollow on the inside, but if an object is completely solid, if I were to measure how much space it occupies on the outside and therein, on the inside of it, I would take this measure, the height, the length, and I would also take the breadth, right? So there are three measures that I would take. But there are times when you have irregular objects, like this lime, for example. How do I measure that? Of course, you can use the same experiment that we're going to use for an irregular object, we can use for a solid object. It's just that the solid object has an extra layer that you could use with the algorithm, with the formula. All right. So this is what the experiment was talking about. And I have a measuring cup here with me. You can see it has measures on there. And then inside this cup, I have, there we go, this one. And you can see the water at the brim there just shaking a little bit. And so I've placed this inside this measuring cup. And then what I'm going to do now is then place this object into that smaller cup on the inside. And can you see the water that it displaced? And then I can lift this out. And there, you see that water that is now in the measuring cup, and I can use that to measure. Then I would have the volume or the space that the lime occupies in the space, in the world. And that would be the same amount as the water, the liquid that is at the bottom of this measuring cup. And we can actually have a measure. And I can see there it's about a quarter ounce. And so that's what you could try. Get a measuring cup, try this at home and different experiments. So that explains to us how the bird was able to use the stones to displace the water. By placing enough stones into the hole, it was able to then displace the water or have it rise to the top, and then it was able to reach it. So I thought we should look at that together. And then we have another experiment to look at, one more before we go today. And there are many in this book that I would encourage you to really look at. But this one today, the last one that we're going to look at, of course. Oh, I wish we had more time. This one is called Flight of Cranes. And again, we can go back and look at where is it coming from? It says natural science. Points 20. So this one is a little bit harder. It's still on the easy level, but it's 2 stars and 20 points. The one we did the first time is worth 10 points. So did we get 10 points? I think we did. Well, now we're going to move into the next one. Are you ready? All right, here's your mystery. It says, the flight of the cranes. A group of researchers prepares their ship to start a long journey to the polar ice cap. It is August, and they must leave before winter begins in the Arctic. Otherwise, the heavy ice and snow will prevent them from reaching their destination. Number 1 clue. The researchers hire guides to accompany them on their expedition, which is already running a month behind schedule due to problems with the ship's engine. Number 2, the guides repeatedly warn the captain of how dangerous winter travel can be. Snowstorms and icebergs could leave the expedition completely immobilized in the ice. At last, the captain informs the entire crew that they will be leaving the next day. That afternoon, everyone is on deck, making their final preparations, when suddenly they hear the characteristic of a flock of cranes overhead. And the guides say, "We cannot go, Captain." Number 4. Looking up at the sky, the guides' expressions change. They take one look at each other and tell the captain, "Mm-mm," and that they refuse to embark on the journey. Why? Question for you. How do the guides know that it is not a good time to set sail? How do the guides know that it is not a good time to set sail? I'll pause for a minute so you can think about that. But also, as I was making the sounds, it reminded me of Cardi B. And that sound that she usually makes. All right. How do the guides know that it is not a good time to set sail? What do you think? Oh, I see a comment in there. Sorry if I missed it earlier. You say, "What a fun book. I love that it applies and shows the science behind the stories and gives hands-on experiments. This is a book for lots of different learning styles. Love it." Oh, yay. Yeah, what do you think of this one? How do the guides know that it is not a good time to set sail? Well, hopefully you've had enough time to think about it. And I wish I could give more processing time, but we have to move on. Are you ready? Ta-da! The flight of the cranes means that winter is just a few weeks away. A dangerous time to start the long journey. And that's how the guides know. But what knowledge do the guides know about these cranes? Well, we go to our experiments and more section and we get to find out. Let's find our mystery, which was mystery 12. Let me see. There we go. So it was mystery 21, not 12, 21. I had my numbers transposed. The flight of the cranes. Let's read up a little bit on that. So it says, the scientific principle, or weather. Migrating birds are very helpful when it comes to predicting the weather changes. Cranes leave northern Europe as soon as the first cold begins, no matter what the calendar may say. They undertake this migration to avoid the snow and ice that will soon blanket their natural habitat. With no chance of finding food in the north during the winter, the cranes look instead to the warmer climate of southern Europe. And so those that know, natives to an area, will know when migrations are happening. Why? And that was the clue that the guides used, or the knowledge that the guides used. So you could try an experiment for this as well. It says, the best way to get to know the birds that live near you is to observe and learn to identify them. If you want to attract local birds, hang a feeder on your deck, in your garden, or near your window, in a discreet place protected from the sun, where the birds can eat in peace and fill it with delicious seeds. And yes, you can find seeds or birdseed at any pet store. So if you have an opportunity, try it and see what the local birds in your area are. And that is the end of our story for today. That was fantastic, sleuthing and solving. Thank you for coming on the journey with me. There are many others. We've done 2 experiments from this book, 2 mysteries from this book, but we have 20 plus mind-twisting mysteries that you can try at home. You can try anytime. And this has been story time for today. A big thank you indeed to Chronicle Books for allowing us to share this lovely book here on Storytime, written and illustrated by VICTOR ESCANDELL. Thank you indeed, Chronicle Books. And of course, thank you for joining me today. Sleuth and Solve Science. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll catch you on the other side of this short break.
Hello, Storytime friends. My name is Angela Dalton, and I'm an author of picture books. Some you may have even seen read right here on Storytime with Mr. Lamada. I'm excited to tell you about my brand new picture book called To Boldly Go, How Nichelle Nichols and Star Trek Help Advance Civil Rights. It comes out January 17th, and it's an amazing story about the legendary Nichelle Nichols and her role on Star Trek, which she left until a very special person reminded her about the impact that she was making, not just on television, but around the world. And I'm excited to tell you that myself and Lauren Semmer, the illustrator, will be coming here on January 20th to read the book to you and to answer any questions that you might have and to tell you a little bit about the book and how we came up with the idea for it. I hope that you'll join us again on January 20th right here in Storytime with Mr. Lamada. Until then, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about me, please visit me at angeladalton.com. Okay, now we got to get back to the story today on Storytime with Mr. Lamada. I hope you're enjoying it. I know I am. Okay, see you soon. Bye.
And welcome back. Thank you indeed for being here. Just enjoying a few pages before we came back from this one. Show the World, Angela Dalton's last book. And of course, now we're looking forward to the new one, To Boldly Go. So please do join us on January 20th for a discussion with Angela and find out everything that's been going on with her. This was a special mention for today, of course, Show the World. And we've read it here on Storytime. So please do find it on the platforms. And of course, find it at your local library. And of course, we're not down. What is that? Did I hear something? Oh my goodness. Did I hear you say you want more Storytime tomorrow? Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. I heard you loud and clear. Tomorrow we'll bring sound. Shh, bang, pop, boom, coming to you. Happy for a Friday reading, indeed. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I'm excited for this one. Romana Romanchin and Andriy Lesiv. And of course, being read with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. So please join us tomorrow for sound coming to you right here on Storytime, 7 a.m. Pacific time. You can also catch us at 11 a.m. Pacific time. But remember, too, that you can catch us at your convenience at Storytime with Mr. Lamada on Facebook and YouTube, as well as Facebook, Storytime with Mr. Lamada on Instagram, as well as storytimemrlamada.com. Thank you so much for joining in today. Thank you for being scientists. Thank you for being sleuths with me today. Thank you indeed for helping solve the mysteries. Thank you so much. I hope that you get to enjoy many more books today, many more readings. Thank you for being here, and I hope that you stay safe. I hope that you stay well. Thank you for all the well wishes, and thank you indeed for the good thoughts of the people in California right now facing all the storms and floods and landslides and everything that is going on. Just sending love and indeed good wishes. It helps. It matters. And if you know somebody out there, just reach out to them and let them know you care. Let them know you're thinking about them. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. And of course, we do have fantastic books coming up. As we've seen, Angela Dalton's book is coming out January 17th. Do check out that one. And of course, Jack the Library Cat from Marietta Apollonia, our very own here on Storytime, is coming out too on March 1st. So do look out for that one. Thank you so much for joining in, friends. This has been Storytime today. And of course, our picture is all the way out at Overlook Park in Burlington, Vermont. So if you're ever out in that way, ever out in Vermont, do check out Overlook Park. Then you can go all the way down to the water too. Thank you so much for joining in today. This has been Storytime, and I wish you the very best. I'll see you again tomorrow for more Storytime. Much love from me. Bye-bye.
Storytime with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, Storytime with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, it brings to life your your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all reading? I just can't wait to be hearing. Ooh, story time. Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all reading? We just can't wait to be hearing.